It could be a bombing, a hazardous material release, a fire, a flood, or any major public event. There is potential for serious injuries and fatalities, severe environmental damage, destruction and loss of property, disruption of the community. The situation is often complex. It is unlikely that any one organization will be able to manage the situation alone. Response operations may require a vast number of resources from many different agencies and jurisdictions. An important issue is how these resources are organized and managed. The challenge is how to get all the players to work together effectively. A common organizational structure must be used by all participants so that decision-making will be coordinated and the response timely and effective. This program is called ICS, the Incident Command System. It is designed to provide training and assistance to law enforcement, firefighters, emergency managers, emergency medical personnel, government agencies, the military, security, and facility management personnel who may respond to incidents or be involved in joint response operations. This program will present a common terminology, describe the basic organizational structure established at most incidents, explain the role of the incident commander, show the relationship of federal, state, and private sector officials, and explain how unified command is set up and operated. From its beginning in the early 1970s managing wildland fires, ICS has evolved into the preferred and accepted system for managing emergency operations in both the public and private sector. To work, the system must be documented in writing. The plan should put forth standardized procedures to be used at routine as well as critical incidents. Roles and resource channels should be defined. The plan must be user-friendly, and emergency response organizations must know and exercise the plan. The plan should describe how the system is put in place, from the moment the first emergency responders arrive on the scene until the incident is terminated. Such a system provides for the safety and health of emergency services personnel involved in the response. Right from the start, authority is fixed on one individual, the incident commander, who is responsible for managing the incident. The actions of the first emergency personnel on scene will often determine how well the incident is managed. Once at the scene, among the first responsibilities is a status report to dispatch. Vehicles should be positioned to maximize safety and allow scene access by subsequently arriving responders. Vehicles should not be placed too close to the incident. When possible, the position should provide a good view of the scene. If the officer leaves the vehicle to investigate or to carry out other actions, portable radios should be used to maintain contact with the communication center, or command may be passed to the next unit to arrive at the scene. Command should be strong and visible so that all responding personnel know who is in charge. As the response evolves, command may be transferred to a more qualified official. The time of the transfer should be recorded and announced to all responders. The person in charge changes, but the authority and responsibility for managing the incident remains with the title. A command post should be established. In smaller events, this is usually a vehicle positioned in a safe area to provide a view of the incident scene. Some jurisdictions have mobile command posts that are designed and equipped specifically for that purpose. For long-term incidents, command may be located in a building near the incident scene.
Yes, absolutely.
A multi-agency response will place a special burden on command, since there will be need for communications between the agencies and coordination of functions. Large-scale incidents may require the establishment of one or more emergency operations centers. If the incident involves industry, the facility or company may set up an EOC to coordinate internal response operations, as well as to provide a point of contact for external agencies and the media. In large incidents, state government may set up EOCs to establish policy, assist in coordination of the emergency response, and to plan for recovery operations. Whenever possible, EOCs should be co-located. Once any EOC is set up, communication should be established at once with the incident commander. An important responsibility of the incident commander is to analyze the situation, what is often called size-up. This should begin with the initial call and continue throughout the incident, since conditions can change. Information may be gathered by observation or personnel assigned to reconnaissance or other intelligence gathering duties. There may be witnesses. Information and pre-incident planning documents may help. The incident commander must seek the answers to a number of questions. What is the nature of the incident? Is it increasing or decreasing in intensity? What are the resources at risk? What is the nature of the occupancy? Is there a life safety hazard? What is the weather and the topography? Is the level of response adequate to handle the incident? What resources will be required, and what is their response time? An early priority is securing the emergency scene. The idea is to keep unauthorized and non-essential personnel from entering the scene. An accountability system must be set up before response personnel are committed. Contaminated and injured victims and witnesses should be controlled. The first job is to secure the obvious entry points and then establish an isolation perimeter around the incident scene. Hazard control zones establish the playing field for emergency responders. Based upon the hazards and levels of risk, zones are created to ensure that responders operate safely. Terms such as perimeter and exclusion zone are used, but most widely these areas are known as the hot, warm, and cold zones. The hot zone is the area of highest risk. The warm zone surrounds the hot zone and is a buffer area where certain activities may take place just prior to entering and leaving the hot zone. The cold zone is a safe area that contains the command post and other support functions. The size and configuration of the zones may need to be changed during the course of the incident. The incident commander should establish a staging area, a designated area to which emergency response equipment and personnel are assigned on initial dispatch and held until needed.
Everybody come around here.
The staging area should be close enough to the incident for quick response time. The area should be clearly identified and should be under the direction of a staging officer who logs in arriving units, briefs crews, and assigns them when orders are received. Command is responsible for developing an overall strategy and plan for handling the incident. Adequate resources must be summoned, an effective organization built, and units assigned to achieve tactical objectives. Hazards and risks must be assessed, and safety personnel deployed to assure the safety of response personnel. Where there is no potential to save lives, the risk to emergency responders is evaluated in proportion to their ability to save property or the environment. The objectives of every response should be to conduct a safe response without further injuries or deaths, to prevent further loss, to minimize environmental impact, to address the public's concerns, and to keep the public informed. As more agencies and units respond and the event becomes more complex, a good incident management system can, even under emergency conditions, rapidly mesh diverse organizations. A team approach can expedite the response, resolve problems, address issues, make decisions, and implement those decisions. Every response is a dynamic organizational event. If all responders use the same system, they can concentrate on the task at hand, not on the process. At most incidents, the initial responders, who usually come from one organization, establish the incident command system. The approach is reactive, as the response organization deals with such activities as search and rescue, fire suppression, and property conservation. But at the same time, the response organization must forecast future problems and response requirements. ICS uses a standardized organization that is simple enough to be easily understood. It uses common terminology and a modular organization, so it can expand and contract as the incident dictates. ICS has integrated communications, comprehensive resource management, a consolidated action planning process, and manageable span of control. There are pre-designated incident facilities. As more organizations arrive on the scene, the command system must grow to accommodate them. The planning process becomes more formal and should allow for input from multiple organizations and stakeholders. Command must manage substantial amounts of information and communicate with a large organization. Operations must be sustained that are proportionate to the size of the incident and the threat to life safety. There isn't just one way to do it, but however the response is organized, it must be the result of planning, training, and exercises. There should be pre-designated incident facilities. The incident command post is a critical benchmark. An emergency operations center must have adequate phone capability and sufficient space so key players can be located in a single room or open area, with private areas for conferences and staff support. Information must be processed so staff can have immediate access to the status of the incident, available response resources, weather and area characteristics. If the incident commander moves to an EOC, the forward command post may continue to function as the operations section command post. When a substantial number of agencies or jurisdictions respond, unified command may be established. Unified command is a single organizational structure at the decision-making level, formed through mutual agreement by cooperating organizations. It can integrate local fire officials as well as mutual aid units, law enforcement agencies including local, county, and state police, industry responders, state and federal agencies. Unified command is superimposed at the top of the management organization. To develop a cohesive team, unified command must promote a spirit of cooperation among the players. A flexible, open organization should be established that engenders a high degree of trust among the partners. Although each organization may have different expertise and concerns, their combined inputs will enhance decision-making. Major decisions should be arrived at through exchange of opinions, leading to consensus. Issues should be freely debated, yet care must be taken that the organization not become immobilized by competing opinions, especially when issues are time-critical. Ranking officials from each agency should attend regular Unified Command meetings. Unified Command assesses the situation and establishes strategic goals and priorities. Goals provide the foundation for planning tactics and operational level activities. Goals may change as the long-range requirements of the response become clearer and short-term objectives are achieved. Unified Command approves plans. Then, each agency is responsible for carrying out its mission within the plan. Finally, Unified Command oversees every aspect of the response. Even though a Unified Command structure may be implemented, the type of incident and pertinent laws might dictate which agency has ultimate liability and responsibility. If this is a critical issue, the lead agency concept might be used. For example, the FBI is designated as the lead agency in most terrorism incidents. The lead agency assumes overall command of the incident, while other agencies carry out their responsibilities under their own incident management structure, coordinated by the lead agency's incident commander. ICS is standardized so that personnel are free to devote their attention to their tasks, since the decision-making process is pre-established and understood by all participants. ICS allows responders to focus on the incident, rather than spending time determining who has what responsibility. Command has a number of responsibilities. It will activate the incident command system, establish the command post or command center, approve requests for additional resources, manage the overall incident response, approve incident action plan, ensure the site safety plan are implemented, coordinate activities and conduct briefings for the command staff and section chiefs, keep the public informed, and terminate the incident when appropriate. The command staff operates in direct support of the incident commander. Staff functions include an information officer, a safety officer, and a liaison officer. Additional staff functions, such as a communications officer, may be assigned depending on the incident. The information officer works with the media to disseminate information important for the public safety and the needs of the incident operation. Information about the incident is approved by command before it's released to the media. The information officer prepares an initial information summary soon after arrival, establishes a joint information center near the incident scene, which brings together the public information personnel of all the participating organizations, organizes periodic press briefings, and provides escort service to media and VIPs. The safety officer monitors and assesses hazardous situations and develops measures for assuring personnel safety. The safety officer prepares and implements the site safety plan, reviews the incident action plan for safety implications, and investigates accidents involving response personnel. The safety officer has the authority to alter or terminate activities that involve an imminent hazard. The liaison officer is the point of contact for assisting organizations. This is especially important when the incident is a multidisciplinary or multi-jurisdictional response. The liaison officer identifies representatives from each organization, assists inter-organizational contacts, establishes contact with emerging groups and presents their concerns to command, and directs incoming organizations to the appropriate place in the organizational structure. The incident command system provides for a series of supervisory levels to create the command structure. The levels established by the incident commander will depend on the scale and complexity of the incident. Under standardized supervisory assignments, there are 4 section chiefs who report to command: operations, planning, logistics, and administration and finance. In a small incident, the incident commander may handle all functions. The planning or intelligence section collects, evaluates, and disseminates information within the organization. Under the direction of the planning section chief, it gathers intelligence, accounts for the organizational structure of the response, and the status of resource deployment. It provides information about the current situation and predicts the probable course of incident events. It prepares action plans, as well as alternate strategies and their implications for review and approval by the incident commander. The operations section is responsible for tactical management of the response. Under the direction of the operations section chief, the section implements and supervises the incident action plan, and as necessary in consultation with planning, makes changes to the plan. Operations also assembles teams and task forces and assigns them. In the operations section, depending on the complexity of the incident, modules may be formed as branches and subdivided into divisions or groups. The important thing is that branch directors, division and group supervisors, and team and task force leaders have an appropriate span of control. Having from 3 to 7 personnel reporting to each supervisor is considered desirable. At each level, supervisory personnel implement the assigned portion of the plan, allocate resources, coordinate with other response components, and regularly report back the status of their assignment and any information that might influence the goals of the operation. The logistics session supports the response by obtaining the necessary resources. This includes staffing, transportation, food and lodging, site security, maintenance, and communications. Logistics will coordinate with supervisors in the field to identify and resolve unsatisfied logistic requirements. The administration and finance section is established when there is a need for such services. It is responsible for financial and cost analysis aspects of the incident and ensures all obligations and claims initiated at the incident are properly prepared and completed. Within each section, other supervisory levels may be established. Assignments may be defined by function or location. An important function of the incident command system is to provide for the accountability of personnel. Supervisors must maintain a constant awareness of the position and function of all personnel assigned to operate under their supervision. There must be a specific means to track personnel entering or leaving hazardous areas. Command, who has overall responsibility for this function, may assign a person to facilitate tracking and accountability. At high-risk operations, a rapid intervention team must be assigned to provide for the rescue of emergency responders operating at the incident. This is one way to organize a response. Each jurisdiction's plan may be different. The important thing is that the organization be flexible enough to adjust to the requirements of a dynamic event, while maintaining sufficient consistency to integrate effectively with other organizations. Once the emergency response phase of the incident is over, the incident must be terminated. Emergency responders will have to be debriefed. Cleanup may be necessary. Systems may have to be restored, and an investigation carried out. As soon as possible after the incident, a critique should be held. For hazmat incidents, it is required by OSHA. All personnel who participated in the response should participate in the critique. The idea is to reinforce lessons learned, find ways to improve response procedures, and update plans. Personnel involved in emergency response must understand the importance of a good incident management system, and they must know their position within the organization. They should understand how agencies work together under the leadership of an incident commander, should know the basic organizational structure of the incident command system, and should participate in regular exercises of ICS. An emergency can become a catastrophic event, yet a well-organized response can help reduce the impact on people, the environment, and the local economy.